بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه وموالاه. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. On behalf of Masjid Alfurqan, I would like to welcome you all, inshallah, to the second part of our Danger of Extremist Ideology series. And today we are with our esteemed Sheikh, Sheikh Abu Usamah, Hafidhahullah, discussing black and white, a response to the mindset that breeds extremism. Before we get started, I wanted to call up one of our brothers, our Sheikh Muhammad Abdi, to start us off, inshallah, with a short recitation, and then we can continue with the program.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. لا يسمعون حسيسها وهم فيما اشتهت أنفسهم خالدون. لا يحزنهم الفزع الأكبر وتتلقاهم الملائكة هذا يومكم الذي كنتم توعدون. يوم نطوي السماء كطي السجل للكتب كما بدأنا أول خلق نعيده وعدا علينا إنا كنا فاعلين. ولقد كتبنا في الزبور من بعد الذكر أن الأرض يرثها عبادي الصالحون. إن في هذا لبلاغا لقوم عابدين. وما أرسلناك إلا رحمة للعالمين. قل إنما يوحى إلي أنما إلهكم إله واحد فهل أنتم مسلمون. وإن أدري لعله فتنة لكم وإنه يعلم الجهر من القول ويعلم ما تكتمون. وإن أدري لعله فتنة لكم ومتاع إلى حين. قال رب احكم بالحق وربنا الرحمن المستعان على ما تصفون. جزاكم الله خيرا.
Jazakumullah khair to our brother Muhammad. Inshallah, now without further delay, I'm going to pass over to our Sheikh. Just a quick introduction. The Sheikh is actually one of the legends and of the da'wah in the UK. May Allah bless him and reward him. He was one of the first people that gave English talks in this masjid. And he's also one of my earliest teachers here in the UK, and someone that I look up to and someone that we are very happy to have back here at our masjid. So tafaddal, Sheikh.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. Before we begin, as per usual, I'll never leave without thanking the admin here for giving me the opportunity to come to the community and to present what I understand as being the religion of Islam in the way that Abu Bakr and Umar and Uthman and Ali, may Allah be pleased with them, and the rest of the companions, the way they understood and the way they practiced the religion. We pray to Allah to establish our feet and our hearts firmly upon their way, because Yawm al-Qiyamah, that's the only Islam that Allah is going to accept. And the way they were is that they used to mutually advise each other with hikmah, with gentleness, in the right way. So the brother who read the Quran, we ask Allah Azza wa Jal to make him even better in his recitation And from what I believe is the admin put brothers up like that so that we can make the tasjir and encourage these brothers, this new generation. The kuffar and living here in the UK, as time goes on, they're trying to change true Islam, real Islam. People want to disconnect us from the Book of Allah, from memorizing it, practicing it the correct way, and so forth and so on. So we have to push that back. And one of the ways we push it back is we put people up here who memorize the Quran to be an encouragement for you brothers. But in saying that, the Prophet ﷺ and the righteous predecessors, before talking, they didn't always bring people who read the Quran first. But no doubt, the best speech is the speech of Allah. So we start off with the Quran. But we want all of you to know. We want all of you to know. Every time there's a lecture, we don't have to start it off with the Quran. If we do this all the time, it becomes something that is not acceptable. But we do it sometimes, like there's a 4-part series, so we bring the brother up for these 4 parts. But then after this, we won't do it, and then we do it, and then we won't do it. And what I was impressed with the brother is after reading the Quran, he didn't say Sadaqallahu al-Azim, which is true. Qul Sadaqallah. Allah said that in the Quran. But he understands. Somebody taught him, you're going to read the Quran, but don't say Sadaqallahu al-Azim. I mention that only so that we will be on this religion with clarity. Because we're talking about extremism. And there's extremism in every issue. Like what just happened. There will be those people who say, he is an innovator, and everyone here is an innovator, and whoever encouraged it is an innovator. That's extreme, because we're explaining, no, we don't say we have to do this all the time. And then the other extreme is the person who, he can't understand why there's wisdom in doing this. The wisdom of that is, the vast majority of us, especially us reverts, we don't memorize the Quran. The vast majority of us are disconnected from the Quran. And we're waiting for the month of Ramadan to try to read it in that month, and it's not going to happen, and Allah knows best. Because Allah mentioned, Inna sanulqi alayka qawlan thaqila. We reveal to you, Ya Muhammad, a word that is heavy, the Quran. So you're not going to read that Quran in the month of Ramadan when you didn't read it in the other 11 months. So we want to stay balanced, stay in the middle. Concerning the issue of extremism, Ikhwani, I have a very important topic that I want to deal with. But before I tackle the topic, I want you to understand something. Extremism comes in different shape, forms, manifestations. The Prophet told us about extremism in the deen, and it's the worst extremism. He told the people, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, iyyakum wal ghulu. فَإِنَّمَا أَهْلَكَ مَنْ كَانَ قَبْلَكُمْ الْغُلُوُّ فِي الدِّينِ. Beware of being extremist. Because those people who went before you, they were destroyed because they are ghulu in the deen. They said that Isa was the son of Allah. They said that Uzair was the son of Allah. رُهْبَانِيَةٍ ابْتَدَعُوهَا مَا كَتَبْنَاهَا عَلَيْهِمْ. They used to do asceticism where they wouldn't get married, where they prayed all day, where they fast all day. And Allah said, that is a type of asceticism, trying to be pious, that we didn't tell them to do that. The nun going to the church and won't get married. Sheikh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah never got married. Al-Imam al-Nawawi never got married. Al-Imam al-Suyuti never got married. And other scholars. But they're not our examples in that. Rasulullah told his companions and this ummah, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I pray and I go to sleep. I fast and I break my fast. And I get married to women. فَمَنْ رَغِبَ عَنْ سُنَّتِي فَلَيْسَ مِنِّي. Whoever abandons what I do, trying to get close to Allah, and leaving what I'm doing, then you're not from me. So don't come and tell me Sheikh al-Islam never got married, and we have some brothers in our audience. Anytime we get to meet the brothers, they'll say, how old are you? He says, 39. Are you married? He said, no. I say, you got to get hooked up, brother. You got to get hooked up. And don't tell me, but Sheikh al-Islam, because I'm going to tell you about Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So extremism in the deen. He described al-Islam and he said, "Inna hadha ad-din mateen fa'awghilu fihi birifq." This religion of Islam is wide, it's expansive, it's strong, it's stern. So practice the religion with gentleness and ease. So we just pray Salat al-Isha. From Fajr until Isha, there are many things you can do in the deen. I see a brother here from Liverpool. He brought some things over here to drop them off as sadaqah. That's from the deen. Fasting is from the deen. Praying in the masjid from the deen. Praying your nawafil from the deen. Visiting the sick is from the deen. Birru walidain and connecting to your family is from the deen. Giving sadaqah is from the deen. And on and on and on. You can't do all of that stuff. If you try to do all of that stuff, you're going to get burnt out. So I want to say that again, especially to the young brothers and the newly practicing brothers and the reverts. You come into the religion as a revert and your parents have a dog. A dog is a big mushkila. He's a big mushkila. Malaika don't enter into a house. But your mother and your father own that house. There are pictures in the house of your grandmother, grandfather. There are pictures. What are you going to do, kill the dog? And tell your parents the malaika won't come into the house. And you're not paying any rent? The sister is a new Muslim. And this happened to my wife. Brand spanking new Muslim. And they had pictures of how she was baligha. She went in that house and she took those pictures down. I support that because that's something she has to move on very quickly. But what I don't support is taking it down before talking to your parents. I don't support killing the dog. I don't like dogs. I don't like them. But the dog is like a family member. So you can't kill the dog. So the point is, extremism in the deen. But that's not the only extremism in Islam. Allah told the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, "Wala tuti' kulla halafin mahin." Don't listen to, don't obey, don't be with the one who is halaf, sigha mubalagha. He's always saying, "Wallahi, wallahi, I drank the water. Wallahi, he brought the water. Wallahi, the water was in the glass. Wallahi, we're gonna go. Wallahi, I'm not hungry. Wallahi, you're gonna eat it. Wallahi, I got a headache. Wallahi, wallahi, wallahi." That's extreme. So the companions used to hit the tabi'een for saying, "Wallahi, wallahi, wallahi." Wallahi is something that the Muslim says, and when people hear it, they pay attention. They say, he's serious. When they hear it, not the one who was always saying, "Wallahi, I'm going to break your neck." He says that to his kid. "Wallahi, I'm going to fire on your booty. Wallahi, I'm going to do it." And he's always saying, "Wallahi." What? The kids don't take the dad seriously because he goes extreme. So don't be like that. So there are many, many, many examples of extremism. We can see here in the rest of the classes about those examples, but we're not going to do that. The Prophet mentioned, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, describing Allah, "Inna Allaha yubghidu ar-rajul alladhi yatakhallalu bilisanihi." Allah hates in a way that befits His Majesty, just as He is over His arsh in a way that befits His Majesty, just as He loves in a way that befits His Majesty, not the way we hate, not the way we love, not the way we come down. Allah Azza wa Jal hates the man يَتَخَلَّلُ بِلِسَانِهِ. When he talks, he goes overboard in trying to sound intelligent. He goes overboard. The Arabs can appreciate the khatib who gets on the mimbar and he speaks, and every word, the last word, rhymes. He has saja'. So his tarkiz and his desire is just to sound eloquent. Eloquence is cool. But as Anas ibn Malik said, "Nuhina an at-takalluf." Don't go overboard. Just make it natural. So in our masjid, today, our shabab need to be able to understand that imam, understand the language he's speaking, and also understanding the ideas that he's saying. So the khatib, the imam, he has to be able to read the room and talk to the people on the level of their understanding and not be loquacious and use words like that. Loquacious means he's trying to be extraordinary, academic, and intelligent. No, man. Talk to the people so they can understand you. That's ghulu. That's being extreme because you're not being natural. And there are many examples. The last example I want to give comes as a hadith, but it's not authentic. But the meaning is true. Ruwiya. It is said that the Prophet says, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, inna al-munbat la ardin qata'a wa la rahila abqa. The rider who is extreme, he gets on his horse and he rides his horse 100 miles an hour and he doesn't stop to rest and to rest the horse. He just keeps going as fast as the horse can go. He said he will not arrive to his destination, nor would he protect his horse. He's going to kill that horse if he doesn't stop and take it easy. And he himself, he's going to destroy himself. So extremism can be in the way you drive your car. You extreme, man. Driving and taking them corners like that. And driving so fast. Because maybe you can be the best driver. But what happens if a child runs out in front of the street? You'll have less reaction time. You're going to kill him. You're going to kill him. So yes, you're a good driver. But you drive according to the law. And you drive defensively, not offensively, and you drive in a way where you are looking out for other things. If you are a young person and you're driving irresponsibly, you're extreme. Ghulu in driving. There's ghulu in everything. The hadith said, ahbib habibaka hunan ma. Asan yakun baghidaka yawman ma. And this is for the women here especially. Our young sisters, especially, but for all of us. Rasulullah said, love the one you love moderately. Because the day may come where that person may become your enemy. And hate the person you hate moderately. Because the day may come where they become your habib. So some people love overboard. You're in a toxic relationship, man. Your wife and you are in a toxic relationship. ثلاثة يدعون الله فلن يستجاب له. 3 people will make dua in Ramadan. Other than Ramadan, he won't be answered. One of those, رجل كانت تحت امرأة سيئة الخلق فلم يطلقها. A man married to a bad lady and he won't marry her. Why? He says, because I love her. I love her. She doesn't pray. She's going behind his back. She's doing, and the man does that as well. And she stays with him. You got to get out of that relationship because that's extreme love or extreme hatred. So I just wanted to say that as the introduction and now get into the issue. When they asked me to do this talk, I said, okay, extremism, the Khawarij. Yeah, I have the perfect talk that I want to do. I want to talk about the benefits that transpired between Abdullah ibn Abbas and his discussion with the Khawarij. But I saw that my Habib and my companion, my Rafiq, Mustafa Abu Rayyan, my main man, 50 grand, who had the mic in his hand and he comes from the Netherlands, when he talked and he gave his talk, he talked about the Khawarij and Ibn Abbas. So I said, no problem. It's a lot we can do. I leave that. Very important issue that I encourage you, go back and read that story. Don't just let it go over your head, especially you young brothers. Because I don't want to get you or see you caught up in the mix, caught up in the matrix, and you are going to Syria to do something wild. I don't want to see that. I know people from this masjid that I had relationships with, and they had good akhlaq, and they memorized the Quran, and some stuff happened that wasn't acceptable. I know people like that in Birmingham. I know people like that in Leeds. I'm the imam in Leeds. When I arrived in Leeds, I knew that I was going to a place where the people involved in 7-7 were from Leeds. And I know the type of place Leeds in. 7-7 are the people who went to London and blew up the bus in the underground. What are you doing? What are you doing? So you have to go back, you young brothers and sisters. Read that story so that you don't have to reinvent the wheel. It's there, read it. So now, because Abu Rayyan dealt with that, I want to deal with a shorter story, an incident similar to it, just as beneficial. And that is what was collected by the Imam Al-Lalaka'i. The book of Al-Imam Al-Lalaka'i is a big book. Most of us are not going to get that book. But if you're a serious student of knowledge in Arabic, that's one of the main books you have to get as it relates to the Aqidah of Ahl Sunnah, as it relates to the Minhaj Salafi. It's a big book, and it is important. It is important. The name of his book is called Sharh Usul I'tiqad Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah, and it's a book of narrations, a lot of narrations. He mentioned in the book concerning the great scholar of Islam, Abu al-Abbas, Muhammad ibn Yaqub, rahmatullahi alayhi, told the people a story. Listen to the short story, impregnated and filled with benefit. He says that there were two men from the Khawarij. The Khawarij. Abu Rayyan spoke about them. I don't have time to break them down. I think most of you know who the Khawarij are. Modern day Khawarij are Boko Haram of Nigeria, the Shabab of Somalia, Qaeda, ISIS. I bite my tongue for no one. I'm against that stuff in that dawah because this stuff harms our community. This boy just read the book of Allah Azza wa Jal. I make dua to Allah that Allah put his recitation in the mawazeen of his mother and his father and his muallimeen. We don't want this boy to meet up with some people, criminals, and fill his head up with dreams. And lo and behold, instead of him going forward, making his parents proud, he becomes an aib and a har on the community, on his people, on his muallimeen. I bite my tongue for no one. And back 10, 15 years ago, we used to have a lot of problems with these brothers here. Where are they now? Where are they now? They're off the scene. They're locked up. They're not practicing. They used to sit in these audiences and be disrespectful and interrupt people while they were talking because they were the mujahideen and no one else. We believe in jihad. Jihad has its ahkam, has its people, has its place, has its adab. Jihad ain't kalam farik. We believe in the khilafah. We believe in that. It's in the Quran and the Sunnah. If someone is against the khilafah, something wrong with you. But what khilafah are you talking about? The khilafah, I sit up here and I scream, khilafah, khilafah. But I don't pray in the masjid. I don't make salat. My wife doesn't wear hijab. I don't know what this religion is saying, and I'm screaming khilafah. No, we believe in all that stuff, but in its proper place. So as it relates to the issue of the Khawarij, they said that these two men were from the Khawarij. They were going around the Kaaba. How many of you have been to Mecca in Ramadan? How many of you been to Mecca in Ramadan? Put your hands up. Wow. I'm not saying wow because he put his left hand up. I'm saying wow because that's all. How many of you have not been to Mecca? Put your hand up if you haven't been to Mecca. Wow. I'm not saying wow because some of you put your left hands up. The adab of al-Islam, as the Prophet says, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, is that the believer gives with his right and he takes with his right, eats with his right and he drinks with his right. The shaitan gives with his left, takes with his left, eats with his left, drinks with his left. We're going to teach people basic principles in Islam before we start talking about the khilafah. The man doesn't know noon is sakin, and the ahkam of noon is sakin. He doesn't have any concept what Yarmalun is, and he's out here issuing fatwa to our Shabbat and our Shabbat about whose blood is halal and not halal. And he doesn't know that you don't eat with your left hand in al-Islam. The two men were going around the Kaaba. And you can imagine there are a lot of Muslims around the Kaaba. A lot of Muslims. So one of them said to the other one, He said, you see all of these people at the Kaaba? All these people came to Mecca. They came from all across the globe. At that time, it was tough, like now. But imagine back then, came from Africa, walking, riding horses, donkeys, akramakumullah, wherever they came from. They're going around the Kaaba. One of them say, you see all these Muslims, all these people around the Kaaba? None of them are going to Jannah. None of them except you and me. That's it. That one looked at him and said, what? None of them, all of these people? The Jannah is just for you and me? The Jannah that Allah described as being wider than the heavens and the earth? Ayat of the Quran. سابقوا إلى مغفرة من ربكم وجنة عرضها كأرض السماء والأرض أعدت للذين آمنوا بالله ورسله. These people believe in Allah and His Messenger. ذلك فضل الله يؤتيه من يشاء والله ذو الفضل العظيم. Muslims, be in a race. All of you, be in a race to receive Allah's maghfirah, to receive Allah's Jannah. Everybody here try to be the best one to get Allah's maghfirah and to go to Jannah. And then Allah described the Jannah. The Jannah is like the width of the heavens and the earth. It has been prepared for those people who believe in Allah and His messengers. Another ayah said, أُعِدَّتْ لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. The Jannah has been prepared for people who have taqwa. There are people going around the Kaaba. You don't know what they're doing in terms of good. That sister's protecting herself. Slick Rick, the homeboy, trying to step to the Muslim girl, and she's not going for it because she has taqwa. Like, you have the nerve to say to another man, only you and me are going to Jannah. When he heard that, he said, are you serious? He said, yes. That man said, you know what? You can go by yourself. It's just for you. I don't want it. And he left. And he left the Khawarij. You know why he left the Khawarij and how? After being with them? Because of his fitrah. His fitrah told him, this is Junoon. You crazy, man. Everybody I meet is a kafir. Everybody I meet that has a Muslim name and he has a beard and she has hijab, because they're not with you and me. He's a kafir. When I meet him for the first time, I believe he's a mubtadi'. I don't even believe he's on the sunnah, because they didn't go to my masjid, because they didn't take my sheikh. You have a ghulu. So in that story, I want to make a point here. Listen, Shabab, all of us. I speak to myself first. I speak to all of my daughters, my sons, my wives watching this right now. We have to make dua to Allah Azza wa Jal to purify our hearts, those of us, and we're in the masjid right now. There are people out there smoking weed right now, drinking right now, having zina right now. We say, may Allah forgive us and forgive them. Allah mentioned in the Quran, وَلَوْ يُؤَاخِذُ اللَّهُ النَّاسِ بِظُلْمِهِمْ مَا تَرَكَ عَلَيْهَا مِنْ دَابَّةٍ وَلَكِنْ يُؤَخِّرُهُمْ إِلَى أَجَلٍ مُّسَمًّى. If Allah were to take the people and make them responsible for what they did, all of the people, Allah wouldn't leave a single person on the face of the earth. He'll punish all of us. All of us. Because there's not a single person in this room who is baligh, responsible, except he's missing Fajr more times than not. Watching what he shouldn't be watching. Listen to what he is. His money is jammed up. Everybody, we're making mistakes. So we have to make dua to Allah Azza wa Jal to purify our hearts. Because for a person to be in that type of understanding, something is wrong with your heart. You have a heart that is dead and it is astray. All of the Muslims are kuffar or innovators because they're not with you. So the first point I want to say to you guys, you're practicing, but don't become pleased with yourself. Don't have ghurur, super impressed with yourself. And you're practicing, you have hijab, jilbab, gloves, all beautiful, nice beard. You're praying in the first row. So the Prophet, when he used to make sajda, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his tremendous dua, Allahumma ya muqallib al-qulub, thabbit qalbi ala dinik. And he's the Nabi of Islam, the Sayyid of Bani Adam. And I'm walking around, I'm Salafi. Nobody else is Salafi. I'm Salafi, you're not Salafi. And you're not Salafi. Why you're not Salafi? Because you got isbal. Because you take from your lihya. Because you don't come to my masjid. Because you don't agree with everything my sheikh said. Come on, man. What's wrong with you? Something's wrong with you. You have ghulu. Ghulu. Everything is the hukam. The hukam. They're kuffar. Hukam. 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 And you're the worst behaved person in the whole community as it relates to your mother who gave birth to you. You have some nerve talking about the hukam who you don't know and your own mother under your nose. You can't respect her. What's wrong with you? So make dua to Allah Ta'ala to establish your heart and make it a good heart. The Prophet said about our heart, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, al-qulub bayna isba'i ar-Rahmani yuqallibuha kayfa yasha. Allah has the people's hearts between his two fingers. He changes them as he wants to change them. You wake up in the day as a Muslim, you go to sleep at night as a kafir. You go to sleep as in the night as a kafir, you wake up in the morning as a Muslim. Allah changes the hearts. I want to ask you guys a question, class participation. How many of you know someone who used to practice and they're not practicing now? How many of you know somebody like that? How many of you don't know anybody like that? Put your hands up. I don't understand this audience, man. One more time. How many of you know someone was practicing al-Islam, now they're not practicing anymore? I know a person here in Manchester was one of the most shadid personalities I ever saw in my life. In my life. وَالَّبِي بِالْإِشَارَةِ يَفْهَمُ. Some of the old head brothers will know exactly who I'm talking about. Off the scene now. Because he got burnt out. Burnt out. And one of the people who were from the Khawarij, their leaders, his name is Dhul Khawaisira. He used to look at the people like this. That's how he used to mean mug people. He couldn't even give sadaqah in al-Islam. Prophet Muhammad told us, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to smile at your brother's sadaqah. Some of us, we just look crazy. Like you've been eating a lemon all day. The speaker is talking, he's trying to figure out, what's his problem? He doesn't even know me. I don't even know him. Like me mugging me. But I have to give him the benefit of the doubt. And I have to say, you know, my eyesight is jammed up. I can't really see. But I could see some stuff, man. Why can't we smile at each other? Why can't we give salams to each other? Akhi Muhammad from Gambia, my man. Why? The Prophet told his companion, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, لن تدخلوا الجنة حتى تؤمنوا ولن تؤمنوا حتى تحابوا أفلا أدلكم على شيء إن فعلتموه تحاببتم قالوا بلى يا رسول الله قال افشوا السلام بينكم. You will never go into Jannah until you believe, and you won't obtain Iman until you love one another. I have to love that Algerian, that Moroccan, that Somali, that white, that black, the ex-Jew who's a Muslim. I have to love him. He said, should I not tell you something? If you do it, it'll create love between you. They said, yes. He said, spread the salams. Salamu alaikum, salamu alaikum, salamu alaikum. And then we'll have in this masjid people who are truly brothers. But you know what we have in our masjids? We have a masjid where people come to the same masjid and they really don't know each other. Because we don't give salams like that. We don't give salams. We give salams to people we know, and that's it. Sometimes people just have social anxiety. Sometimes people just introverted. But how you gonna? You won't go to Jannah until you believe. You won't believe until you get Iman, till you love each other. You want to know how you love each other? Give salams. Akramakumullah ya Abdullahi. I want to move forward, inshallah, Azza wa Jalla, concerning this issue. When these two men were going around the Kaaba, I want you to imagine this. And you've seen pictures of the Kaaba. One of them is going around the Kaaba believing all of the Muslims are kuffar, and only he is going to Jannah with his partner. I find that really like astonishing and mind-boggling. Do anybody from amongst you know anybody historically worse than Fir'aun? Fir'aun was a problem. These tawaghit today, these kuffar tawaghit today, these criminals who are stealing our lands, killing our people, lying to the people. Afghanistan, they've been crippled all of this time. And then when these people leave Afghanistan, they boycott them, their financial systems are jammed up, their institutions are messed up after killing those people all those years. And then they want to give the public the impression that the problem is with the Afghanis. Palestine and the Zionists, criminals, straight up criminals. Apartheid. They raped and robbed and pillaged the continent of Africa. The police in America, the Popo, you saw how they killed that black man the other day. Black criminal cops killed him. The police in America are a paramilitary group of thugs that have been unleashed on my people in America. If I go back to America and the cops stop me, I'm nervous because they can kill you for a simple thing. But back to Fir'aun. Fir'aun is worse than all of them. Fir'aun said to the people, to Bani Israel, Ana Rabbukum al-A'la, I'm your Lord. And he did a lot. I don't got time to go through all of that. But when Allah Ta'ala destroyed Fir'aun, listen to this, akhi. He's walking around the Kaaba believing everybody in this masjid is a kafir except him. He's walking around the Kaaba. The Prophet says, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Jibril came to me when Allah destroyed Fir'aun, drowned Fir'aun. And Jibril said to me that when Allah was going to destroy Fir'aun and he saw he was getting ready to get drowned, he said, Amentu bila ilaha alladhi amanat bihi banu Israel. I believe in the God, the ilah that Bani Israel believes in right before death. He took the shahada. Rasulullah said, Jibril said to me, Ya Muhammad, law ra'aytani akhidh hal al-bahr fa'adussuhu fi fihi makhafatan an tudrikuhu ar-rahma. He said, Ya Muhammad, when Fir'aun said it, La ilaha illallah, I went down to the bottom of the ocean and I took dirt from the bottom and I went very quick and put it in Fir'aun's mouth out of fear that Allah was going to forgive Fir'aun and give Fir'aun rahmah. Fir'aun, ya akhi, Fir'aun. And you talking about, yeah, he made zina. Yeah, he smoked crack. Yeah, he drank the stuff. Yeah, he murdered someone. Yeah, he was a kafir. Somebody else from our community. But Allah Ta'ala, His rahmah wasiyat kulla shay'an. Allah's rahmah went everywhere. And that's the meaning of His two names in every surah of the Quran other than Surah At-Tawbah. Bismillahi ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Ar-Rahman, Allah has rahmah on everything in creation. Muslim, kafir, man, woman, shakir, not shakir, pray, don't pray. Rahmah. He gave them babies, got them married, gave them a job, put us here, all kind of stuff. But he gave you rahmah. But Yawm al-Qiyamah, he is ar-Rahim. He only has rahmah on the believers. And he won't have rahmah on anybody else if you're not a believer. Not Rasulullah's mother and father, not Ibrahim's father, Azir, nobody. Ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. How are you going to exist like that, Ya Abdullah? Concerning the guy who went around the Kaaba, listen, I want to take this right now to Abdullah ibn Abbas with the Khawarij very quickly because Abu Rayyan didn't mention this. Listen, when Abdullah ibn Abbas, who was from the ulama of the companions, when he went to talk to those people, Abdullah ibn Abbas said, I went home and I put on the best hulya, the best thobe that I could find. I had my thobe and I had a hulya over it, like a gown. I don't know if they do this here, but they do it in America. Yeah, they do it here because I've been in the court here, not because of me. I didn't go in the court for me. You know how the judge wears the robe? That comes from the Muslims, the ulama. When you graduate from university, you wear the gown, the robe. Abdullah ibn Abbas put the nicest one on that he had. So imagine your clothes for Jummah or the Eid or the day you get married. How many of you are not married? Put your hands up. Masakeen. Make dua. Allahumma iftah alayhim. Qulu ameen. Allahumma zawwijhum. Say ameen. That's why you guys left hand, right hand, something that you got to get married. You're not balanced. I get it now. Listen, guys. He put on the freshest, flyest clothing. Not his nice thobe, his best thobe. And he went at dhuhr time. Look at the hikmah of the ulama. The hikmah. Why did he go at dhuhr time? In the Arab world, at dhuhr time, you do what's known as the qaylula. Back then especially, it's real hot. So the people go to sleep at that time. So he wants to see the people at a time when they're lethargic and lazy. He doesn't want to see the people when they're ready to get busy. He knows how these people are. These people will spill your blood, Jack. He wants to hook up with them when they're tired, man. So when he went in on them, he said, Assalamu alaikum, fasallamtu alayhim. They said back to me, marhaban bika. I said to them, Assalamu alaikum. They said, marhaban bika, welcome. Haqqul Muslim ala al-Muslim, sittu. When you meet the Muslim, fasallam alayhi. And I want to say this very gently, very easy and gently. One of the things that really get under my skin, I don't know why I take it so personal, and I'm still struggling to do and handle it, is going to my GP like I went 2 days ago. I think it was my baby came in. Yeah, it was Thursday. Recently, I'll go to my GP, and it's all Muslims who work behind a counter, all of the doctors, nurses, Muslims, and all of the patients, Muslims. And when I get up to the counter, the sister says, hello. Nah, sister, hell is low. Hell is low, but I ain't feeling that. And I always start going off. My wife always said, come on, man, that's ghulu. You're too tough. But it's just something that's in my central nervous system. I can't stand going to a Muslim who's working with Vodafone, Pizza Hut, wherever he's working. And he is a Muslim. And he can see I'm a Muslim. And we can't say, Salaam alaikum. What's this hello business? What is that? There is a hadith that says, if someone starts kalam with you without giving salam, then don't talk to him. But that hadith means if you have power over that person, if you can change that person, you're the teacher, he's the student, he's going to learn from you. But Jibril used to come to the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and they would start the discussion without salams. The companions start to, so it's not wajib. So I'm not going overboard like that, but hey guys, we have to hang on to our religion, man. These people are trying to dog us out in our religion. You gotta say to your kid. Gotta give salams when you get in the car, especially now with our kids. Our children will get in the car and don't give any salams. Ala kullin. Ibn Abbas sat down. The very first thing they said to him was, "What you wearing, man? What you wearing? Why you all dressed up like that?" That's the very first thing that they said to him. He's Ibn Abbas, from the ulama of the companions. Pump your brakes and fall to the black and take it easy and say, let me ask him in a respectful way. Perhaps, la'alla, rubbama, yumkin, asa. He has some information, has some knowledge. What you doing? The thing had, nice. He said, you people making car on me? He said, listen, I was with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the Prophet wore something better than this. The governor of Al-Bahrain gifted to the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam a similar hull, and it had gold strips in it. And this is where the big ikhtilaf comes. Can you wear something that has some gold in it? A watch is not total gold. So the more you know, the calmer you'll become. The calmer you become. The less you know, the more arrogant you are. There's a hadith that says you shouldn't wear red, but the Prophet has some clothes that has some red in it. So anyway, he told them, I saw that the Prophet was given this gift by the governor of Bahrain, and when he came out and he wore it, it had came from Persia, and the man gave it to the Nabi as a gift, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When the companions came, Rasulullah was sitting down, they said, Ibn Abbas said, فَطَافَ الصَّحَابَةُ عَلَيْهِ. The companions was walking around the Prophet, going around him like looking at the thing like, wow. Like they never saw anything on that level. Just marveling at it, and bewilderment, amazement. Not giving him the evil eye. Not like that. But just, wow, look at them clothes, man. So Ibn Abbas said to them, Allah said to us in the Quran, من حرم زينة الله التي أخرج لعباده من الرزق. Who's going to make the stuff that Allah made haram? وَالطَّيِّبَاتِ, the good things that Allah made haram. You making stuff haram? And that's how we have our brothers. وَمَنْ لَمْ يَحْكُمْ بِمَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْكَافِرُونَ. Yeah, we know those ayahs, man. But you don't know your ankle bone from your elbow in the religion, so don't give these big fatwa. You know, Rasulullah said, أَنَا بَرِيءٌ مِّن كُلِّ مُسْلِمٍ يُجَامِعُ الْمُشْرِكِينَ. Hadith Sahih. I'm free from every Muslim who lives with the mushrikeen. And this brother's coming telling us it's haram to live in the UK, and we all have to make hijrah. Well, what are you doing here, Mufti? What are you doing here? Be the first one to get the ticket, man. And then find a place and let us know about it, and we check it out. And he's making everything haram. That's not to say while we're here, there's fitting here, our children. Being here, there's a price to pay. There's a price to pay. Being here, I'm going to say that. But don't come tell us it's haram to live here, man. What are you talking about? You're not a scholar. Don't talk like that. Know your pay grade. Know your level. The Khawarij, they don't know their level. They're extreme. They're extreme. So he read that ayat to the man. And look, this is the last thing I want to mention about Ibn Abbas. Ibn Abbas said to all of them, 6,000 of them, and he was by himself. That's the hikmah of the ulama. Going there also at dhuhr time, having dalil. When the Prophet died, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it was a big fitna on the community. Everybody was discombobulated. Everybody was off the square. Everybody was, wow, he's been here for 23 years and now he's dead. They couldn't believe it. Umar stood up in the masjid and said, anybody who says he died, I'm going to kill you. You're a munafiq. That's how he was. He was so upset. Abu Bakr came. There was nothing he could say to the people. He said to Abu Bakr, he said to Umar, hey, ya ayyuha al-halif, sit down. Because Umar was saying, wallahi, I'm going to kill you. So he tried to talk to him. He didn't listen. He said, sit down. He wouldn't listen. Abu Bakr got and went on the minbar. Prophet Muhammad's minbar is 3 steps. He used to stand on his top step for Jummah anytime so everybody could see him. Abu Bakr stood on the second step. When the people saw that optic, when they saw that, it resonated. They knew something done jumped off. He doesn't have to talk a lot now. Just them seeing him like that made everybody say, whoa, this is different. Because nobody stepped on that step ever. And then he began to talk to the people. Oh, you people, whoever worship Muhammad, Muhammad is dead. And anyone who worships Allah, Allah is alive. And he doesn't die. And then he started reading ayat of the Quran. إِنَّكَ مَيِّتٌ وَإِنَّهُمْ مَيِّتُونَ. You're going to die. They're going to die. Abu Bakr Umar said, my legs started shaking. They couldn't hold me up. And I knew those ayat. But he can't remember them when there's a musibah. He said, I just fell down. I fell down. No energy. Lethargic. Hikmah of the ulama. Listen, man. Your dad may not be a scholar. When I said knowledge of the ulama, you're thinking about Al-Albani, Ibn Baz. You're thinking about scholars right now. I'm talking about your father as well. Your father is an old head. He's an OG. He went through this life. He knows what time it is. And I'm not talking about this watch. Your father has some experience that you don't know. You don't have. So don't look at your dad and make istisghar of your dad. Your dad doesn't know because he can't take a computer apart. He doesn't know about Instagram. My dad doesn't know. That doesn't disqualify him from being a person who knows what he's talking about. When your dad tells you, hey son, listen, I didn't get a degree. I wish I can go back and get a degree, but that's wishful thinking. If I could turn the hands back on time, I would have been a better student. But now, it is what it is. And I get my grind on right now. And I'm proud for what I do, providing for you, your mother, and the family. But I'm telling you, son, get your degree. You'll put yourself in a better position, inshallah. The son said, Dad doesn't know. Dad doesn't know. He bugging. Dad is bugging. Your father ain't bugging, man. He's dropping jewels on you. You're the one who's bugging. Moving forward, Ikhwani, the ulama of al-Islam, they see the fitna before it comes. They see this is a fitna. And then they tell people, hey, disengage, don't do it. But the people don't see the fitna. And then when the fitna comes and then it goes, that's when the people say, man, that was a fitna. Like the Arab Spring. The Arab Spring. The scholars can see this is a fitna. But there were those people, hey, we have to do it. We have a jihad. Oh, al-amr bil-ma'ruf. No. Now it came and it went. And look at Iraq. And look at Syria. And look at the Muslim world. Put your finger on the Muslim map. Pick it up. Blood. Because of the young. Someone will sit in this audience and believe in what I'm saying, that I'm pro-hukam. I'm not pro-hukam in that kind of way. I'm trying to make a point. The Arab Spring was a fitna. Brothers here who are from Libya, and I don't want to make this political, but Gaddafi wasn't the best leader in al-Islam. Saddam Hussein wasn't the best leader in Islam. But both of them were powerful leaders. Powerful. The Salaf used to say, 1,000 years under a leader who is an oppressor is better than one night without any leader at all. Because if you don't have a leader at all, no leader at all, every Amr, Bakr, and Zayd, Tom, Dick, and Harry who is a criminal is going to come out. Because he's not afraid of the police. He's not afraid of going to prison. And he's going to rob you. He's going to go in your house, take your wife, take your daughter, kill you, take your money, because there's no police to stop him. That hadith doesn't mean, that statement doesn't mean you enjoy the dhulm of the leader. It's like the Salaf used to say, Abu Hurairah used to say, I'd rather lie when I swear by Allah. When I say wallahi, to lie and I'm lying is more beloved to me than swear by other than Allah. You guys get that? Saying wallahi and I'm lying is better in my sight than saying I swear by Allah or Al-Uzza or my mother or my father who died. Because one is shirk and one is a sin. No one's saying it's okay to lie when you say wallahi. So the scholars, with their knowledge, with their experience, they know what they're doing and they can see. And the people who don't have knowledge, the Khawarij and the extremists, that's not the case. I'm going to finish up here, inshallah, by mentioning to you brothers very, very, very quickly something about the Khawarij of before what the Nabi said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and how we can't be, and then I'm done, inshallah. And that is, listen very carefully, guys, and I'm done here. The one who doesn't have knowledge and he really sees himself and his friends and his crew, the shabab with him, they're the ones. They're the cream of the crop. They're the gatekeepers of Salafiyah and of Al-Islam. They're the real mujahideen. They're the ones who love the Quran and the Sunnah and Islam. And everybody else is just faking the funk. Prophet said about him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, yaqra'una al-Qur'an wa la yujawiz taraqiyahum aw hanajiruhum. They read the Quran, but it doesn't go beyond their throats. They don't understand it. It doesn't go beyond their throats. It doesn't go to the ears where they hear it and understand it. When Abdullah ibn Abbas went to those people to talk to them, he said, I never saw a group of people making salat like them. They had marks on their head from praying, getting their heads burnt. And I remember coming into Islam, some of the people I accepted Islam with, some of the brothers used to believe wrongly that if you have a black mark on your head, it's a sign of Iman. وَسِيمَاهُمْ فِي وَجُوهِهِمْ مِنْ أَثْرِ السُّجُودِ. So they won't want to pray on a carpet like this. They want that hard carpet. So they be scraping their heads like this, scraping their heads. Taking his skin off. And then when you see him, he got a big, massive joint. And you say, whoa, brother, you did it. From the sunnah, when you pray, getting up from the sajda is to get up like this. Al-ajn. Not to get up like that. Hadith that's authentic. You get up like this. Those Khawarij with Ibn Abbas, he said they had calluses all on their things from praying so much. On their knees, they had calluses like the camel. He said, I heard them and you can hear them. As the Prophet said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You compare your salat to theirs, your fast, the Quran doesn't reach their necks. It's just kalam. They just reading it. These ayat were read just now. What did he say? What were the ahkam? What were some of the hidden treasures? Al-Imam al-Suyuti, tremendous scholar in Islam, he wrote a book called Al-Iklil fi Istinbat at-Tanzil. He said about this thing with Ibn Abbas wearing these nice clothes, he said, in this is a refutation against the people who believe at-tawarra, that you can't wear nice things. No, you could wear nice things. So the scholars can look at these incidents, ayat and ahadith, and extract and extrapolate for them benefit. We can't, unless you put yourself with scholars, unless you put yourself in that environment. The man, the brother, just read some ayat. What surah was it? He read some ayat that have ahkam. But it's over our heads, most of us. It didn't move a single person. But those companions, they hear those ayat, ulama, every single ayat is a story, some benefit in our everyday lives. And scholars have that. So in regards to this whole issue with these people, memorizing is good, but we have to get understanding. And I complete this by saying, don't be like the Bedouins, guys, in ignorance. The Bedouin is called the Arabi, the Arab, the Bedouins. His mindset is he comes into the masjid and he pulls his pants down in front of everybody and he urinates in the masjid. Can you imagine that mentality, that aqliyah? You have to have some khajl. You have to have some hayat, naturally. Naturally. But the Bedouin, he's tough. Rasulullah said about him, man bada jafa. Man bada jafa. Whoever lives in a badia far from the people, he's going to be rough and tough. Coarse. So here I am, Abu Usamah. I come from the frontiers of Peshawar. I come from the frontiers of Kabul. For an example, it's a rough place. The winter is rough. The mountain, the terrain is rough. That's going to build me in a particular way. The ones who live in far away from Kabul and Karachi and these places, in Somalia, the dude who's in the desert with his camels. He's not living in Haragisa and Basaso in the city. He's way out there. Rasulullah said, man bada jafa. He's going to be coarse. So they've been described in the Quran. Al-A'rabu ashaddu kufran wa nifaqa wa ajdaru an la ya'lamu ma anzal Allahu ala rasulihi. The Bedouins, they have more kufr, more nifaq, and they the ones who don't understand. More than anyone, they don't understand what Allah revealed to the Prophet ﷺ. Don't be like the Arabi, the Bedouin. And how are you like a Bedouin? How can we be like the Bedouin? We memorize, but all we are is like the babagha. The babagha. The babagha is the parrot. You know the parrot, that beautiful parrot, the colors inside of the thing. When you come up, you say, Assalamu alaikum. Probably want a cracker? Yo, what's up? And you can teach him to do that. But does he understand what's up? Does he understand that? Assalamu alaikum. He's a babagha. You memorized, but you don't understand. And you making fatwa on your own. Don't be like that. Don't be like that. Be a person who we're memorizing, because that's important. And we have to understand, as those companions did. We memorized 10 ayat, and we learned them, and we practiced them. And then we went on to the next 10. We learned them, and we practiced them. And then we went on to the next 10. Abu Bakr as-Siddiq. One of the meanings of as-Siddiq is the person who his words match his actions. Actions speak louder than words. Al-af'al ablagu min al-aqwal. My mother's a non-Muslim. I love her. I love you, ma. I love you, ma. But I don't give a dawah to Islam. I love you to my wife. I love you to my wife. But we don't respect her. She's doing the school run. She's picking them up in the morning, taking them off, and she's washing the clothes. She's everything. The money's coming for her, and the man is sitting there playing PlayStation. And he says, you know these kuffar, Islamophobia, racism out there. She says, man, you got to go get a job. No, he says, man, it's hard out here, man. You don't understand me, man. What are you talking about? What you talking? If you love your wife, man, you got to go get a job. If you love your kids, don't leave them unsupervised and just on their own whims. So in concluding, ikhwati fillah, extremism in any aspect of our life is a problem. The greatest ayat of the Quran is what? The greatest ayat of the Quran is what? And the greatest surah of the Quran is what? Surah Al-Fatiha. Every revert knows that. I don't memorize those ayat that brother just said. I don't memorize those ayat. I don't memorize them. But I memorize Surah Al-Fatiha. If you memorize Surah Al-Fatiha, put your right hands up. Good job. Good job. I ain't going to expose the other. That would be extreme, man, if you don't know Surah Al-Fatiha. That's ghulu, man. What are you doing? In Surah Al-Fatiha, the greatest ayah of the Quran, Ihdina as-sirat al-mustaqim. صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. Guide us to the middle path, the middle in our religion. Don't eat too much, don't sleep too much, don't talk too much, don't be too angry, don't be too soft, don't be too hard, don't be too heavy, don't be too light. Right in the middle, in the middle. We're going to stop here, inshallah, azza wa jal. We're sorry if we went over the time or anything like that. And although we do be like kind of like trying to keep it lighthearted sometimes and stuff like that, but this issue is a very important issue because the people who are against the scholars of Islam, they're usually the ignorant ones from amongst us. A scholar takes in a position, and it's normal, man. I'm going to tell you, when I became a Muslim at 22, I went to Al-Medina. I was a new, brand spanking new Muslim. I'm in Medina. The issue with the Gulf War happened. The Sheikh that I loved, Sheikh Al-Albani, he said, Saudi Arabia should not use the kuffar in order to push back their enemy. That's what they said. They said, we're going to do this because of Dorora. And they had dalil to do that. Me coming from America, a racist place. I hate their government. I hate their hypocrisy. I hate that place in many ways. But in actuality, I love America. America's a beautiful place. I don't like the racism. I don't like the popo. I don't like the hypocrisy. But America is beautiful, man. You go to San Diego, you can find Somalia in San Diego. You go to Minnesota, you find Somalia in Minnesota, brother, in that cold. You got tropical there, you have beautiful there. It is a beautiful place. And in America, for the most part, you know what you get. People are racist, they'll let you know. Here, they slick with it. They slick with it. They have you thinking they're your friends, man. And that's why when the Queen died, some of the Muslims were tripping out. They was making sajda to the coffin. I digress. When that Gulf War thing happened, there was some older brothers from Sudan, from the group called Ansar al-Sunnah al-Muhammadiyah. They all had PhDs, they had graduated, they were getting ready to graduate, and they used to come to my house because I used to hang out with them. And I had two other American brothers, and we were young. And they were telling us, nah, the Sheikh, they know what they're talking about. I said, nah, Al-Albani knows what he's talking about. Al-Albani, that hadith. We can't use the mushrikeen against the mushrikeen. All those dalils. لا يتخذ المؤمنون الكافرين أولياء من دون المؤمنين. All that. Them sheikhs, I love them sheikhs of Baz. I love them, but that's wrong. Why was I talking like that? Because I was young. I was inexperienced. Had I had more knowledge, more experience, I would have said, I see why they're saying what they're saying. They know the principles of the religion, and that's their point of view. And that's why one of the greatest scholars in Islam, Al-Imam Ahmed. Al-Imam Ahmed had wara'. He used to have his opinions, but he wasn't rough and tough with the people because he knows the people have ikhtilaf. And in their ikhtilaf, you can understand why he's saying what he's saying. And although you don't agree with his point of view, you respect it. You respect it. But the young brother and sister, it's only one way. Only one way. The niqab is wajib, and that's it. Yo, brother, your wife ain't got no niqab. You a dayuth, man. Brother, don't call me that dayuth, man. I don't play that stuff. I don't see it as wajib. And he's rough with his, what? Hey, akhi, you don't have a beard. You don't have a beard. You, not a dayuth. What are they calling people? Nah. A mukhannif. You're a mukhannif. Hey, man, don't call me no mukhannif, man. What are you talking about? That's an offensive word. A brother, and I'm done with this. A brother, African-American brother, never forget it, my dumtu hayya. A brother was in the madrasa with us. His wife was in the madrasa with us from Jordan, originally from Palestine. She was a good lady too, good teacher, good hijab and everything. And this African-American brother was rough. He not practicing anymore. He didn't agree with what the sister was doing in the madrasa. And he was also in the madrasa. When the husband came in, he said to the husband, I'm gonna sa'afdahuha, fadiha. What he meant was English. What he meant to say was, I'm going to expose her incompetence. She's not, in his opinion. But what the brother understood was, al-fadiha, you use that word, where that man comes from, it means al-qadhf. You're saying his wife did something. That's how he understand it. So we have to read the room. New Muslim, you know the ayat in Surah Ar-Rahman? فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ. Which of the favors of your Lord would you deny? That doesn't mean here's some Zamzam water. I say, you want some? He says, no. So I say, فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا. Don't say that. That's not what that means. So we were going to pray. One brother, he said, you do the adhan. He said, nah, man, you do the adhan. He said, فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ. The brother got mad at him. Because the ayat means to disbelieve. You make takzeeb of, you deny that Allah is Allah. Rasulullah is the Rasul in it. So we are ajam. We're young. We don't have a lot of knowledge. Pump your brakes, Abdullah, Amatullah. Pump your brakes and take it easy. We're going to stop here, inshallah ta'ala, and give the floor and let the mudir do what is, whatever is in the system. Afwan, Sheikh.
Jazakallah khair. May Allah Azza wa Jal reward our Sheikh and bless him for his time and his effort. And may Allah Azza wa Jal make these words of benefit to all of the community. All that's left, inshallah, is to announce that next week we're going to have our very own Sheikh Muhammad Ali Hafidhullah back, where he's going to be speaking about the dangers of following the footsteps of the Khawarij. And that's on Saturday the 18th after Salat al-Isha. As well as you brothers know that from last week after Salat al-Maghrib on a Sunday, we started a new explanation of Kitab al-Tawheed by our Sheikh Muhammad Ali, inshallah. So if you've not attended last week's session, you've got time to catch up and be here tomorrow, inshallah, after Salat al-Maghrib. Jazakumullah khair. Subhanakallahumma bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Wassalamu alaikum.